Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Just a little video about Doctor Who. Now, I haven't made many videos about Doctor Who because I was never a big fan. I never watched the show. I saw a few episodes of the Tom Baker Doctor Who in the, I thought it was the 80s, but it was actually the 70s he was in. I didn't even know what decade he was in. But I did watch the first season once the show came back. I had a friend, Dave, who was really seriously into it, and I watched like every episode. And I liked it, and I was glad it came back because I was more aware of its absence than I was actually aware of the show itself, because I was sort of there when there was Doctor Who was this thing that had happened in the past and it wasn't current and going on like Star Trek. So I'm not a huge expert, and I was talking to a guy in one of the comic shops, one of the comic book guys who is sort of like a bartender, he just always end up talking to them, and he was telling me all about the show, and I didn't know anything, so I couldn't really talk on his level. So I sort of thought, you're gonna have to just go and research. I found a bunch of documentaries. I found a whole bunch of episodes from each sort of era of each Doctor and that, and I'm yet to sit down and have a marathon and do them all. But with the latest Doctor, I haven't seen anything she's done. I haven't seen either of the specials. I haven't seen season 11 or 12. What I've heard is bad. I've heard that it's not just her. Basically, they changed the whole show. They didn't just change the actor, which would have been a lot smarter if they just changed the actor and kept the show the same, and then made changes down the line once people were adjusted to the new actress and to whose sex change. That probably would have helped, but instead they just changed everything: the music, the actor, the producer, the writer, just everything. They changed everything: the look, the feel, just the tone. Everything apparently changed, is what I hear. I hate having to go on other people's information, not my own review or whatever. But that's what I hear. So that's what I hear is the fair criticism of the show, that it's very political, it's very preachy, it's very dry, it's not as much fun, it's not sort of Alien of the Week anymore. And I've seen a lot of clips that seem to support that, and that the biggest complaint from people, besides the full-on haters who just hate no matter what people do, and hate that she's a woman no matter what. Mostly it's just that the show is very different, we don't like it, and we're being called sexist, and the assumption is we don't like the show just because it's got a female actress leading it, which in most people's case isn't the case. It's the show itself. There's a few throwbacks, of course, who are making everyone else look bad. I won't mention any names. I don't watch their videos very often, except when they accidentally come up. But what we hear lately is, because the main thing that I was hearing, the other thing I was hearing was that, Jodie Whittaker's ratings are higher than the last guy, and don't know who the hell the last guy was. He just looked really old, and I'm like, I don't want to watch some old guy. That's the other problem I have with Doctor Who. Something about the older doctors in the old show, they sort of seemed kind of harmless. There's something about them I liked. I felt comforted by their age. Whereas the last couple of doctors, the older ones, they just looked kind of creepy. And I'm just like, I don't want to get in a phone booth with that guy. So I was a little bit more inclined to jump on board with Jodie, but I'm going to watch them, I just haven't. But the argument was, her ratings are higher than the last guy. Ratings are higher than the last guy. It is more popular, so people do like a female doctor, blah, 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 blah. Well, it looks like people were just tuning in for the freak show. Like, let's just see how this looks. And then once they saw the train go past, they got off, because the ratings have gone steadily down, and she's gone below Peter Capaldi, or whatever his name was, who was the last Doctor, the 10th Doctor. And we have to go all the way back 31 years to 1986. When is it? September, season 23. Oh wow, I forgot they started the seasons over once they started up again. But yeah, season 23 of the original run, September 1986, to see a lesser amount of viewers, which was an episode called The Mysterious Planet, Part 4, which only had 3.7 million viewers tuning in. So that's how bad the ratings are now. We've bobsled past the current Doctors. We've gone right back into the 80s, when the show was cancelled, and I think it was cancelled in 89. So this is not good, because I'm pretty sure the show costs a little bit more than the show did back then. So so those ratings mean a bit more now. So this is really bad for the show. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if it should be put out of its misery or not. That's what I'm hearing, but I'm not just gonna assume it because I listened to a few people like Clownfish TV about She-Ra, and I watched She-Ra, and it's absolutely made for little girls, and isn't very adult or sophisticated, but it's not a bad show. I actually enjoyed it. There are only a few little things that bothered me. So the main issues seem to be with how they were marketing it and how they were talking about the other show and the other actors and the producers who were in the original show and the fans. And it seemed to be the discourse between the production company and the fans and the media was more of the issue than the actual show itself. Just the show on its own was okay. So I'm a little bit more weary, and this happened to me a couple of times in my life. I remember I was told not to watch the first X-Men film because it was cheap and had bad effects and was crap, and I didn't end up seeing it. And then I saw it on TV, and it was brilliant. And I said to myself, you are never going to let another person influence whether you see a movie or a TV show ever again in your life, because the chance of you missing something good far outweighs all the turkeys you're going to sit through because you didn't listen to someone who said, don't watch that movie, it's crap. And I've only ever walked out of 2 movies in my life. One was Beauty and the Beast, because I wanted to see King Kong, but it wasn't on for like another hour, and I thought, well, I'll see Beauty and the Beast. If it sucks, I'll just leave and go see King Kong, which is exactly what I did. Once Teapot started singing, I'm like, I can't do this. And I went and saw King Kong. It was great. The other one was the remake of Suspiria. It sucked. It was nothing like the original. Just no spirit, no nothing about it. It was just awful. And I realized I was going to have to get a taxi home because I'd miscalculated the length of the film. And I said, you know what? I'd rather just walk out of this film right now. I don't care what happens, than get a taxi home. So that's what I did. So those are the only 2 films I've ever walked out of in my life. And I'm fairly good with making up my own mind and not letting other people make my mind up. But I must admit, I was a social justice warrior once upon a time, and without really knowing what that was. I think before it was a name, I sort of was one of them. And then I sort of went to the other side. I jumped on board all the Discovery haters and kind of deserved it, but they hated everything. And now I'm just sort of trying to come back to a medium, which is why I'm sort of being cautious with Doctor Who, because I haven't really, I can't speak on it with real knowledge. All I can talk about at the moment is the ratings, because they are in the toilet. There's no doubting it, there's no denying it, there's no opinion, there's no sexism, there's no there's no, isms. It's just bad. And this show costs a lot of money. People expect a lot from it. It's got investors in HBO or someone in America, so they need, I don't know what's going to happen, but it's looking pretty bad, because the one defense that they had was, well, it's rating. People are watching it. People want a female doctor. No, they wanted to see what a female doctor looked like. They didn't like it, and they left. They sort of went for the freak show and left. That's how it feels to me. And now, yeah, what were the ratings for the whole thing? Okay, so Spyfall Part 1 was 4.9 million. Spyfall Part 2 was 4.6 million. And Orphan was 4.19, 4.19, okay, 4.19. And then Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror is 4.4. So they're scraping the bottom of the barrel from what I can see. Now, I would like to do a more extensive bit of research on the ratings for the whole era of Doctor Who, but I've yet to find the material I need to do that. But yeah, I just think it's really sad. I think if they had just changed the sex and kept the show the same, I think that would have been fine. Maybe not Jodie Whittaker, because she does seem to overdo the bumbling. From the few scenes I've seen, she does seem to make a lot of faces and seem kind of goofy, and that's not really what I see as Doctor Who. But then again, I'm not an expert. So I'm going to try and stay out of that part of it and just say, well, the ratings are in the toilet. What are they going to do if they keep going down? What are they going to do if people keep tuning out? If the word of mouth keeps going and people like me keep saying it's shit, and people who are actually watching it, who have been watching the show since they were a kid, they're saying, I'm not watching anymore, this is crap. I mean, someone what's her name, Jessie Gender, went on and said about Star Trek and Doctor Who that preachiness is good, woke is good. The more woke, the better. She wants preachy Star Trek and preachy Doctor Who. It really doesn't help anyone. It really doesn't help anyone. All it does is turn people off. It insults people. It basically says, I think you're too stupid to think for yourself. Think this. Whereas intelligent science fiction assumes the audience is intelligent and gives them all the pieces to put everything together and work things out for themselves and come to their own conclusion. So that's what I want from science fiction. I want a story presented to me that I get to interpret and understand and have my, not be hit over the head with it instead and told, this is what it is. Even if I know it's true, I am in Australia. I am sitting in smog and rain and bushfires. The country basically burnt. We lost like 1 billion animals. We are well aware of global warming. We don't need to be hit over the head by a Doctor Who story with some lady screaming at us for 2 minutes that global warming is going to destroy the Earth. We know that. We're in the middle of it. I want to watch Doctor Who to escape the smog and the dead animals and the bullshit. But apparently we don't get to do that. Instead we get lectured about it. So I really don't know what they're thinking, what their intention is. But yeah, me and Pip are going. I don't know, I felt I needed some moral support with this one, because I kind of feel like I don't know enough to really talk about Doctor Who, but I do feel fairly strongly that they're going in the wrong direction. And I'm dreading, about as much as I'm dreading watching Picard, actually catching up on Doctor Who. I'm going to have to do it because I have no credibility. I can't talk about anything if I don't know enough. But I thought I can at least talk about the ratings. But I'm doing my cyclical talking in circles thing, you know. But thanks anyway. Thanks for watching. Feel free to share, like, comment. Bye.